Excellencies, distinguished delegates, I'd like to ask you to kindly take your seats so we can proceed to further discussions on agenda item 5. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, I'd like to ask you to kindly take your seats. We will proceed again with agenda item 4 and 5. Decisions 4 and 5.
Good afternoon, distinguished delegates. The meeting is called to order. We shall now proceed and continue with consideration of draft decisions containing documents ESCAP/CMPFs 5/4 policy options for the future of economic growth in Asia and the Pacific, and ESCAP/CMPF 5/5 report of activities of the consultative group on financing strategies for the Sustainable Development Goals. We will start with ESCAP/CMPF 5/4. The draft decision reads as shown on the screen.
Full screen. Any further comments?
Yeah. Would any delegation wish to intervene specifically on the text proposed? United States of America, you have the floor.
Thanks, Chair. After some consultations with the Secretariat, I don't have any new news to report. I think it will not be, I'm certain it will not be impossible for us to support the inclusion of sustainable, and I don't necessarily think it's useful to relitigate why, but we continue to support economic growth that is market-based and market-driven, and delivers economic success in our country. So this is a red line term for us, not just here, but elsewhere in the UN. And so you know, I could take back broad. I really don't think broad will get support either, given that it's not within our vision, but we could, as I've said, live with resilient and long-term economic growth and have some consensus. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from the United States. Are there any other interventions on this text? China, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. China suggested, not suggest. China, our view is that we need to keep the word sustainable. And since our U.S. colleagues did not agree that with the sustainable, so I think the compromise cannot be made. We suggest we put it back, the inclusive, to the bracket. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from China. Distinguished delegate from Iran, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We support the China proposal, but we think that the inclusive is replacing broad, not added. So we are in favor of deletion broad and replacing it with inclusive. Thank you.
Thank you, Iran. May I ask the distinguished delegate from Japan if they're okay with the deletion of broad?
It was an attempt to find a medium way, but if the two parties can't find a compromise around that, I don't think we need to have it in there. And just kind of a quick question while I'm at it, how important is this decision for the Secretariat to basically essentially carry out the activities that's embedded in here? Because our understanding is that you will be doing this anyway, because it's part of your mandate. So what added value do we have in adopting this new decision? We would like to have a consensus decision for us to be kind of all rallying around this, but our full understanding is you're doing this anyway. Thank you.
Thank you, Japan. Let the Secretariat.
Sure. That's correct, because the objective, if you read the subprogram 1, exactly has the same language, right? So that's our, actually, subprogram 1's mandate to do these things. Resilient, inclusive, sustainable economic development. Yeah, that's correct.
The US, you have the floor.
Thanks. Given what we just heard from the Secretariat, I would just propose deleting the decision.
Thank you, distinguished delegate. Are there any other delegates who wish to, support what Japan has proposed, or Japan and the United States?
Are they okay with the deletion?
China, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. China's support keeping the decision. Thank you.
Thank you, China. Japan, you have the floor.
Just to be clear, Madam Chair, I'm not for or against, I just asked the question whether it impedes the Secretariat from doing all these things. That was a clarifying question. But if, and I stress the value of having a consensus unified front on these decisions for it to have meeting. If we can even transpose some of the, the elements into other ones, later in the, I don't know whether there is anything that's later, that's another way out of this situation. So trying to find a consensus around this.
Thank you, Japan. I understand your position. Thank you. If there are no other interventions for this decision, I would like to propose postponing this for the last day, which is tomorrow, and move on to the what's the name? Which is move on to the next item, which is ESCAP CMP/CMPF 5/5 report of activities of the consultative group on financing strategies for the Sustainable Development Goals.
That's pretty much adopted.
The distinguished delegate from the US, you have the floor.
The risk of dragging down 2 of these. I'm curious what the difference is really between this decision and the first decision that we looked at yesterday, where we talked about diverse, emerging, and complex macroeconomic challenges faced by the region, and for the Secretariat to strengthen through policy research, technical assistance, and peer learning initiatives. We all agreed on that yesterday. This is more or less the same thing, maybe with some broken out pieces in terms of SIDS and LDCs and LLDCs and things like that. And so maybe we take the text yesterday that we agreed add ref, and we add those components to it, is a concept.
Sorry. Thank you, United States. I'll give the floor to the Secretariat.
Thanks, Chair. A little confusion, clarity, US. There's no reference to country with special needs and special situations we discussed earlier. But if I get the broader gist of your query, this is entirely focused on consultative group, which is one aspect of the work of the sub-program. Yesterday we were discussing essentially broader issues, right? So for instance, in that case, when we highlighted, we had examples of the different existing mechanisms that ESCAP can use to follow up. The consultative group is one of them. And this is directly on that item. That's the difference.
US, you have the floor.
So in some sense, we're talking about the consultative group twice.
Is your permission?
Yeah.
No, we are not spelling it out, consultative group, in that decision. I don't think so that's about consultative group at all. Do we have it handy? Can we show it again?
Yeah.
Right. So this is what we agreed yesterday.
Oh, maybe I'm looking at the wrong one. How about 2? Yeah, sorry, this was the one I was referring to. Could we just add something to this that says at the end, and again, I'm working off the cuff here, so my apologies. Where is it? Can you put the 2 next to each other? This is like sorry, in the document on the right, I think scroll up. Other right. The right as it faces us, yeah. So these 2 decisions are substantively, I think, quite similar. With the exception of the multiple environmental challenges clause and the needs of countries in special situations, is there a way to just combine the 2 where we take the countries in special situations and move them into decision 1? The context of multiple environmental challenges faced by the regions as well as the needs of particular countries in special situations. And you don't need the mandates part because it's already up at the top of the other decision.
The Secretariat, if you could make the change.
Thank you.
Thank you, United States. Are there any comments on this new formulation from any delegates?
Just a further clarification, the last part of that, I think you could leave that part that you've just highlighted and delete the end part where, and within existing resources and mandates. Thank you.
Yeah. May I check with all delegates if this is acceptable? If it is, I think it's a good way we can move forward. Iran, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It seems that the current proposal we have is actually dilutes the attention from countries of special needs and circumstances, particularly countries in special situation, least developed countries, landlocked developing countries, and small island developing states. So it has, in its current formulation, it pays little focus on the situation of these countries. So we think that with a little bit changes of the, we have to focus more on the special situation of these countries. We can move the last phrases the last sentences will be focused on these countries. We can move it to the first part of the sentence, the first part of the decision, in order to keep focus on these countries. Thank you.
Thank you, Iran. Can I clarify, Iran? Is this what you have suggested? Thank you. Are there any comments from the floor? Japan, you have the floor.
Now we have a really long sentence. But is this to say region, comma, keeping in view the blah, 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 request the secretary, so we don't need the and? Is that what we're trying to do here? Just, and then after the yellow, do we need and? No, it's a, oh yeah, and. Okay, and, okay.
Is that okay for Japan? No?
Okay, yeah, okay. US okay, then we can delete that.
Can I just ask the US, you have the floor.
No objection to the change. I think you could delete the "and" after the bracket.
Thank you very much, distinguished delegate from US.
I think for readability, we need it to say, yeah, there you go. Thank you.
Thank you all the delegates who have contributed to this. I think it's being very productive this afternoon. And if there are no more comments on this, we can, you know,
So we have to confirm whether that decision is deleted, right? The other one.
if the delegates agree, we can delete the other decision, and we can have this one, have this decision. If and may I ask the distinguished delegate from China if that's agreeable to you?
We still prefer retain this decision. Thank you.
Thank you, China. In that case, I think we'll have to, as I mentioned earlier, keep this for the last day and then move on to the next agenda item. Iran, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our contribution to this new proposed draft decision is just, it doesn't mean that we are in favor of this draft decision. But if, if we are going to focus, if there is a consensus on this draft decision, this is, we propose this formulation. Otherwise, it depends on if it depends on the consensus in the room for this decision. So we are not supporting this draft decision. If we are going to focus on this draft decision, this is our contribution. Thank you. So we are not in favor of including Iran after USA, to put Iran after USA. Yes, just please, exactly. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Iran. Japan, you have the floor.
Well, I just wanted to thank Iran for proposing one fix, and I think this fix is an elegant one. So I just let you know that this is something that we should still keep on file.
But, yeah, we keep that in
Yeah,
noted.
you don't need to keep the name, but I think we should keep it on file as one of the fixes going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from Japan. The Russian Federation, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sorry, maybe I do not understand it fully right, but we have now words as needed, and I do not fully understand what exactly we needed. Because the committee notes the macroeconomic challenges faced by the region and keep in view the concerns and needs of states in pertinent policy areas as needed. Do we need it here? Sorry, maybe I just don't get it.
Thank you, Russian Federation.
We have to revert to the original language because the move was not agreed upon.
This as needed thing.
The entire insertion has to be taken out.
I think now we have to revert back to the original text because the distinguished delegate of China has it's not agreeable to them. The U.S. You have the floor.
Well, I guess as it's my edit that's in there, I have no objection to removing as needed. So feel free to delete. I'll say I have limited flexibility on sustainable, but I have a lot of flexibility, I agree, but consensus is where consensus is. And so I would recommend we consider this and move forward.
Thank you for your suggestion, United States. Since does China have any flexibility on this?
Thank you, Jay. Can you clarify what kind of flexibility are you seeking from China?
What I meant was keeping this, the new text for this decision.
Yeah, China will not object to the insertion of the highlighted paragraph, so long as the decision 4 is retained. Thank you.
Thank you. United States, you have the floor.
Just so for clarity, then there's no flexibility from China on decision 4.
Thank you,
China,
sorry. Okay. Thank you. Why don't you ask seek flexibility from our U.S. colleagues? Because I think the majority in the room support the decision 4, and only one country object to it. Thank you.
Thank you, China. India, you have the floor.
Can we understand from the Secretariat how important it is for both the agenda points to stay on, or if the Secretariat would be okay losing one of the agenda points itself?
Secretariat, you have the floor. Yeah.
Yes, the way Secretary understands the suggestions to move the paragraph, I thought that was a suggestion to have the essence of the other decision reflected here and then dropping the other decision. Secretariat is okay with that. However, one representative, at least at the moment China, is still wanting to keep the other decision as it is earlier. That's the current situation at the moment. But the way discussions have evolved, moving the language as we see on the screens right now from the decision here, Secretary is okay with that.
India, you have the floor. Yeah.
So, in essence, if this decision goes through, then the Secretariat would have to drop one of the agenda points.
This is the decision we're looking for member states, whether they agree to drop one or not one, keep one, merge for some language from the other in this one. That's a conversation we're having at the moment.
Because from the two agenda points, I can understand one has an emphasis clearly on the climate resilience work of the Secretariat, and the other has the consultative committee and its work as at its core. So
No, we are mixing the things now. I think we are talking about decision 3 bringing here and decision here. So the language is not from the consultative group. That's for agenda 5. They're mixing now, actually. So let's take a step back probably to understand where we have moved what at the moment.
I think
Okay,
it will
can
be
we show on the
helpful.
screen one by one which the document, the language at the moment is corresponding to? The one you have on the screen is for agenda item 2, which was the 4th International Conference. That's settled yesterday. Next, this is agenda item 3 that is currently being discussed, revisited again. Macroeconomic implications of pursuing climate resilient development. The suggestion from US was to move from decision 3 to here. Decision 3 pertained to agenda item 4, policy options for future economic growth. So right now we are discussing bringing language from decision agenda item 4 to decision of agenda item 3. There's one more, and this is the consultative group agenda item number 5. So this one is settled as well.
sorry, now I can see it with more clarity. So if 4 in the agenda item 4 has a broader context for the Secretariat's work, and agenda item 3 is more focused on climate resilience work, right?
That's correct.
So agreeing to the language at agenda number 3, if it's okay with all the members, then the same could be replicated for agenda number 4.
That's up to the member states to decide.
Agreement is the key word here, I think.
No, we
So,
need the
yeah.
decision for the committee as a whole, right? So keeping it once is all right too. You don't have to have separately the same language repeated, just to be sure. The discussion is right now, when we move this some part of the language to another decision, do we drop the other one or not? That's the conversation at the moment.
China, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. And I agree with our colleague from India that the topic under the agenda item 4 is more broader. And so the question now, as status quo, is not that one country wants to retain the decision 4 and other want to drop it. Actually, the Jesus of question, the key the question is that one country wants to delete the word inclusive and sustainable, while the rest of the country want to retain it. So that's the key essence of the question. So let's focus on the question to not divert it. Thank you.
Thank you, China. United States, you have the floor.
I mean, I guess that is the essence of the question, right? We're back to inclusive and sustainable. My proposal was a way forward to find something that addressed the needs of the Secretariat and had consensus and has consensus, or we can put forward a decision text that doesn't have consensus and move forward. I mean, it's kind of up to the committee at this point. You know, I think one of the things the U.S. has talked about in the context of the UN is that we tend to have these debates about, that are about these little words in here. And I think it was very clear to me at the end of last session was whether the word sustainable stays or not, and inclusive stays or not, the work of the committee, or excuse me, the work of the Secretariat will also remain the same. So this isn't a conversation about the Secretariat's work. It's a conversation about a discussion that's really more appropriate for New York. The consensus is not with sustainable right now, and I recognize I'm the only one pushing that view at this point. But consensus means everyone agrees, and everyone has not agreed. So that's where it is. And if the preference of the group is to maintain inclusive and sustainable, then that's fine. The U.S. will either call a vote tomorrow or will dissociate. The proposal to combine the two was an attempt at a solution that avoids kind of this ideological debates that we're having right now, and finds a way forward so that we can all work on things that actually make a difference to the Secretariat's work. Thank you.
Thank you, United States. Are there any other comments from the floor? India.
Can we just scroll up to it, the decision 3?
If it's not agreed, then we can't revisit this one because this is agreed upon yesterday.
If we take this context in the first sentence, emerging and complex macroeconomic challenges faced by the Asia-Pacific region, combine it with the context provided at the last line, and multiple environmental challenges, and bring it to agenda item 4. It because then entirely provides the context to replace resilience, sustainability, and inclusivity. Then it enables us to retain both the decisions so that the Secretariat can continue to focus on climate resilience work from Agenda 3 and the broader growth work at Agenda 4.
Japan, you have the floor.
Yeah, if you recall, just because you seem to be stuck on the climate, and the reason why the decision under Agenda 3 became the way it was that we were fixated on this part, but it notes the diverse, emerging, and complex macroeconomic challenges. So we said, for example, issues like disaster risk reduction includes climate, but it's a broader element. How about pandemic? All these things. But the way the original language read wasn't that, which was why, unlike how you described it right now, that it's about climate, it includes all sorts of disaster risks. So number one, our understanding from Agenda 3 is not in line with what you described. It's a lot broader than that. So I just wanted to be sure that people are on the same page with regard to Agenda 3, because the description didn't really match. And the Agenda 3 decision also does talk about the policy research, technical assistance, and peer learning. So it's actually more detailed than the one below it.
Thank you. Thank you, Japan. I'd like to note here that the decision, draft decision 3, right? 3. Nepal, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In decision number 4, if it is the problem of just either long-term economic growth or the sustainability or the sustainable, I think we can borrow the phrases from decision number 3, because we have already agreed for the resilient long-term economic prosperity. This phrase is already reflected in decision number 3, and we all of us already agreed. So I think we can borrow this resilient and long-term economic growth or prosperity, and we can also qualify with some, just like protecting environment or if needed. So I think we can have a consensus on that, because already we did in decision number 3. Thank you.
Thank you, Nepal. So, is there any? United States, you have the floor. Wait.
I mean, assuming that comes with the deletion of the other adjectives, we would be supportive of that.
Thank you, United States. Any other comments on this? Yeah. I would like to suggest we take a 5-minute break.
papers? Oh, okay. Agenda item. I will do that. Yeah. 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 Okay. Excellencies, distinguished guests, we will reconvene. Please kindly take your seats.
Let's resume the session. Yeah, yeah. Are there any comments or suggestions from the delegates? China, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. We just had a friendly talk with our colleague from the United States, but unfortunately, we're still fall short of reaching an agreement. So we agreed to disagree. Yeah, at least for this moment, and we want to leave it for discussion tomorrow. By the way, just realize that, okay, in the current decisions, there are some countries listed after the bracket, but for the other brackets without country names, so we suggest that the secretariat to put the country names after each bracket to show that which country support it, which can disagree with it. Thank you.
Thank you, China. Secretariat, please note. And now I would like to go back to the agenda item 3, the decision. Since we didn't come to a consensus on that one, I suggest we go back to the original text. Japan, you have the floor.
Madam Chair, as we know in multilateral, nothing is agreed until everything is agreed. So even if it's 1 or 2 or whatever, if it isn't agreed, it isn't agreed. That's a reality. This is still, I think, it's still a promising pathway, at least to park for now, if we're still parking for. So please don't delete it. We think that, I think we got things. Comments from the Secretary that your work is not impeded whether or not you have that decision for. So if that does get swept or impact in any way, I think it's still useful to have this in 3. In any case, those countries in special situations are impacted by the diverse and emerging and complex macroeconomic challenges, so it's not really logically inconsistent in any case to keep it. So we're all for reducing the number of decisions rather than increasing it. Thank you.
Thank you, Japan. Nepal, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Also in decision number 4, actually that was not under formal proposals of Nepal, so delete the country named Nepal. Just we wanted to seek the consensus based on the decision number 3.
Thank you, Nepal.
Yeah.
Okay. So we move on, right? Yeah. Any other comments or suggestions? Yeah, United States, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. We understood for all proposed by Japan was a workaround for inclusive and sustainable, but it's not something we'll be able to agree to. So we would, since we're maintaining those at the moment, request its deletion or annotate us as opposed.
Thank you, United States. Oh. Japan, you have the floor.
So just to keep the text cleaner, we proposed it as a workaround. If it's not useful as a workaround, we can be helpful and reduce another extra thing to spend time on. We do think that we should probably move on to the other agenda if we're at an impasse.
Thank you, Japan. So now we will, if there are no more comments, we will move on to Agenda 6. And we will leave these decisions that has not been agreed for tomorrow. So Agenda 6 is on the review of activities carried out in 2024 and 25, including in response to the requests and decisions made by the committee at its 4th session and consideration of future focus of the sub-program. May I request the Secretariat, Mr. Malik, to give the presentation statement.
Got it. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. This is, Agenda 6. So the document ESCAP/CMPF 5/6 provides an overview of the Secretariat's efforts to implement the recommendations and decisions made by this committee at its 4th session, held in Bangkok and online from 1st to 3rd November 2023, along with related activities of the sub-program of Secretariat. This agenda item does not have any decisions in it, so it should be straightforward. Just to recall, the committee made 6 recommendations to the Secretariat in relation to the sub-program 1 on macroeconomic policy, poverty reduction, and financing for development. Briefly and broadly, these recommendations covered these areas. 1, to strengthen its research and technical assistance in areas such as sustainable finance, macro policy, public debt, and domestic resource mobilization. Number 2, to facilitate international cooperation and collaboration to bridge the financing gap. And 3, to leverage the platform provided by the consultative group on financing strategies for the Sustainable Development Goals to strengthen policy exchanges and sharing of experiences on macroeconomic challenges and sustainable financing issues. The committee also adopted 2 decisions, which basically took note of the key findings and suggested actions contained in ESCAP's Financing for Development Series number 5, entitled Sustainable Finance, Bridging the Gap in Asia and the Pacific, and acknowledged the research on macroeconomic and debt issues carried out by the Secretariat for the Economic and Social Survey of Asia and the Pacific 2024-2025. The document under discussion provides details of our work in response to these recommendations and summarizes the work of the consultative group, which has held 9 meetings online so far. The document under consideration also contains 4 annexes So Annex 1 lists all the analytical studies, reports, working papers, policy briefs, and communication and outreach products. Annex 2 provides information on the capacity building work of the subprogram 1. Annex 3 documents all the policy dialogues organized by the subprogram 1 to disseminate the messages of its analytical work and to promote peer learning and experience sharing among member states. Annex 4 highlights intergovernmental engagements, policy advocacy, and side events. Information on the work of the consultative group is available on the web page of the subprogram 1. Further details are available in the document that we just discussed, ESCAP/CMP5/5 and its Annex 1. So I invite the committee to provide feedback on the steps and actions taken by the Secretariat to implement the committee's recommendations and decisions at its last session. In addition, committee may also wish to provide guidance to the Secretariat on the research and capacity building activities that member states consider most useful given their specific circumstances. Such feedback and guidance would help us plan our forthcoming activities and technical assistance work. We look forward to your guidance and feedback. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Malik. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, we shall now proceed with country statements for agenda item 6. I would like to urge all speakers to adhere to the time limit of 3 minutes to ensure we can hear from all those participating. I would like to remind delegations that in case of a longer statement, you may provide the Secretariat with the full statement for sharing through the committee website. The Secretariat would also like to encourage each delegation to focus its intervention on each of the agenda items under discussion. In view of the mandates and operational requirements of the committee, priority will be given first to the members, associate members of the observer countries of the committee. If time allows, the floor will then be given to international organizations and other entities. Statements will be read in the order in which they have been received by the conference officer or show up in the request to speak list. Let us now continue. I now open the floor for country statements. May I invite China to present your country statement? Thank you.
谢谢主席女士。过去2年 ，ESCAP 秘书处在可持续融资、发展筹资、宏观经济政策和债务可持续性方面等开展研究、发布了一系列报告和文件，为成员国提供技术援助和能力建设培训，推进相关领域的政策对话与合作。中方对此表示肯定。中方积极参与相关领域合作。近年来，通过中国 ESCAP 合作基金，提供近100万美元支持秘书处开展气候融资、制定长期经济发展规划、促进经济增长、帮助特殊处境国家结构转型等领域的项目，助力地区国家能力建设和知识分享。委员会的工作涉及到宏观经济政策、减贫和发展筹资3大领域，但就目前而言，秘书处在上述领域开展的工作仍不平衡，对于减贫领域的投入依然不足。考虑到消除贫困是2030年可持续发展议程的首要目标，受疫后经济复苏乏力、气候变化等影响，全球减贫形势仍然严峻。希望秘书处今后在减贫领域能够加大投入，通过研究分析、技术援助和能力建设，助力地区国家推进减贫事业。中方愿与各方一道，继续用好 ESCAP 平台，加强政策交流、经验分享、技术合作与能力建设，共同应对亚太经济面临的风险挑战，为促进地区长期韧性、包容、可持续的经济增长作出贡献。谢谢主席女士。
Thank you, distinguished delegate from China. Are there any other governments who wish to speak before I open the floor to designated representatives of international organizations? Japan, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We wish to commend the Secretariat for its thorough reporting on the state of follow-up of each recommendation and decision. This level of clarity and accountability is truly noteworthy, and I did not recall seeing other divisional documents presented in such a manner to committees. So I sincerely thank you. We think that this deserves special recognition, and we would really, truly like to thank the Secretariat. At the same time, we'd like to reiterate our call made earlier yesterday to leave some space for the Secretariat to be able to address other forms of disasters and macroeconomic shocks and broaden the scope of analysis on an as-needed basis. Climate risks are most frequently highlighted, and rightly so, but our collective work should also allow some space to anticipate and address varied shocks. For example, a pandemic or other forms of disasters like tsunamis, for example, could occur again, and we must be prepared to respond with resilience across those types of multiple dimensions within existing mandates and resources. So we just wanted to point that out. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate from Japan. The floor is now open to designated representatives of international organizations. I see no requests. Thank you very much for your contributions to the discussion on this agenda item. With no further comments, I would like to conclude agenda item 6, review of activities carried out in 2024 and 25, including in response to the requests. Is there any other request? Including in response to the requests and decisions made by the committee at its 5th session, and consideration of the future focus of the sub-program. If I may, I would like to continue to the next agenda item, item 7, other matters, if there is no objection. Thank you very much. Let's move to the agenda item 7, other matters. Before I open the floor for any other matters, it is my pleasure to report on behalf of the Bureau on the status of credentials of representatives of members to the 5th session of the Committee on Macroeconomic Policy, Poverty Reduction and Financing for Development, in accordance with Rule 12 of the Rules of Procedure of the Commission. The Chair and Vice Chairs of the 5th session of the committee examined the credentials of representatives of 29 member states submitted in accordance with Rule 11 of the Rules of Procedure of the Commission and found them to be in order. The Bureau decided to defer any action on the credentials pertaining to the representatives of Myanmar at the 5th session of the committee, pending a decision by the General Assembly on the representation of Myanmar, and in line with the General Assembly Resolution 396 5 of 14 December 1950, acknowledging the report of the Credentials Committee of the General Assembly at its 79th session. May I take it that it is the wish of the committee to take note of the report of the Chair and the Vice Chairs? I see no objections. It is so decided. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, I now open the floor for delegates to raise any other matters. Would any delegation wish to take the floor? I see none. Thank you. I see no more interventions. This ends the deliberations under agenda item 7. I would now like to invite Mr. Malik, the Secretary of the committee, to make some announcements.
Thank you, Chair. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, I would like to inform you that the draft report is expected to be ready, hopefully, for your perusal at 1200 hours tomorrow. The report will be made available only to registered delegates and permanent representatives to ESCAP by email. As explained on the first day of the committee, only the decisions discussed during the session will be captured and considered for adoption in the report of the committee. An account of the proceedings will be drafted after the session has ended, will be circulated to participants so that they have an opportunity to ensure that the statements have been accurately reflected and be annexed to the report on the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Malik.
And then we go back.
But that means the end. If I may suggest, since we have about 30 minutes left, if the delegations, if it is acceptable for the delegations, we can go back to the decisions and see if we can work on it and be able to move forward. Are there any objections from the floor? Or would you rather call it a day? I see no objections, so I think we can use this about 30 minutes to see if we can move forward on the decisions. Thank you. The first one we are going back to is the agenda item number 3. I would like to ask the delegations if they want to keep the new text or go back to the original text. I would like to know your comments on this. Thank you. United States, you have the floor.
I mean, I think this text, thank you, Chair. This text, I think, is like an alt if we can't find consensus on decision 4. I understood on decision 4, we were waiting for an update to see if it was acceptable on, I can't remember the precise language, but long-term economic prosperity. So I would recommend, I mean, I don't know if there's an update from that from the Chinese delegation or if I misunderstood, but that's what I understood it to be. And so maybe it's more profitable to start at 4 than to start here, and I honestly don't know that we're going to have any updates on 4. So I won't have any updates.
Thank you, United States. Any suggestions on this decision from the floor? United States, did you want the floor? Yeah, please go ahead.
Well, again, I understood we were waiting for an update for someone's capital to see if we could accept long-term economic prosperity. But in the meantime, long-term is repeated twice. So maybe either pull it out of the, I think it's probably better long-term economic growth and economic prosperity. But again, I thought we were waiting for an update from China, and I don't know that they would have one yet. It's just been a few minutes.
Thank you, United States. We can clean up the text once we get the consensus, I think. Yeah. India, you have the floor.
The idea of the decision is to ensure that member states get research and technical assistance based on their needs, right? If that's the crux of this decision, the entire sentence, starting from on achieving resilience till the comma just before especially, is actually not required in the decision.
Thank you, India.
So if that entire portion is dropped, it reads that the Secretariat continue its policy research and technical assistance, especially keeping in view the concerns and needs of particularly countries, etc.
Secretariat, yeah.
Yeah, just for clarification, so if we delete the references, we're doing policy research and technical assistance on what?
The concerns and needs of the countries, because as what is required from them, because the initial text read demand-driven research and policy analysis, right? So we're still trying to capture it to be as in what the member states require.
I understand the gist of it. My query is, if we don't refer to any issue, what are we referring to? Policy research and technical assistance in general could be very, very broad and very, very big, right? So any reference to any issue, like we have been trying to talk about resilient, long-term prosperity, long-term growth, inclusive and sustainable growth, that's the discussion happening, right? On policy research and technical assistance on, and that's where the conversation is going.
On the concerns and needs of particular countries.
But they are resilient concerns or needs of the countries, right? So just asking clarity for that. If
But then
agreeable to others, then I'm just asking for my clarity. Is that what you're referring to? Delete everything else, right?
yes.
Yeah, okay.
It still provides us with the context of being the research and assistance needing to be demand-driven. It also ensures that the Secretariat remains within the existing resources and mandates. And of course, in pertinent policy areas covers resilience, inclusivity, sustainability, and all that this ESCAP otherwise does.
Thank you, India. Are there any suggestions? Japan, you have the floor.
Well, it was certainly one of the exit ways, but I'm just looking at the Agenda 3 decision, and this one talks about promoting resilience also. So again, it kind of begs the question, because everything is on an as-needed basis in the United Nations, right? The Secretariat is not supposed to be doing things that are not authorized by member states in any case. So I just, again, wonder what is the value added of this particular decision, even with the change to resilience, because you do have that already in Agenda 3. So still
Thank
think
you, Japan.
perhaps just to delete this decision is probably our fastest way forward.
But India, would you like to make some more clarifications on what you suggested?
If all of us can agree to removing those on particular words, the suggestion that India proposes actually enables consensus, and it also retains the enables us to retain the decision as such. But then I hope our fellow member states would agree.
Thank you, India. Secretariat, would you like to make some
Yeah, so if I
clarification?
hear you correctly, the sentence would read with your suggestion, the Committee on Macro Policy, Poverty Reduction and Financing of Development requests the Secretariat to continue its policy research and technical assistance on, we delete everything, on the concerns and needs of particular countries and the rest of the end of the sentence. That is your suggestion, right? Yes, that's what the suggestion is. So that's up to the member states now to discuss.
Are there any comments or objection or suggestions on this, on the what's been suggested by India? China, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. I think the concerns and needs of countries, member states are too broad. I don't think the committee can address all of them. Yeah, so I think it's a mission impossible for the committee. Thank you.
Thank you, China. United States, you have the floor.
There is a broad element to it, but it's also caveated at the end. In pertinent policy areas, as needed and within existing resources and mandates. So essentially what this would do is just restate that the committee can continue to implement its mandates, as I read it, which is broad, but is also not I hope not mission impossible, because it is their mandate.
Thank you, United States. China, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to bring back the main purpose, why we need to pass the decision. Because why we need to convene the meeting every 2 years. Because we need the meeting, we need to hear this discussion, hear the feedback from member states, and we need decision to guide our future work. So that's the main purpose we need a decision. So that's why we need to keep more substance in the decision. Means we need to guide where the committee is going to do in the future. What kind of research and technical assistance that need to be focused on. What kind of growth patterns need to be pursued in the future. That's the main guidance from of the decision. That's the main purpose we pass the decision here. If we deleted all of them, then where is the guidance? Actually the committee is doing technical system, doing the research as requested from the members. But what's the guidance from member states? Where the future direction are? are. So that's why China suggests that we retain the substance in the decision. Thank you.
Thank you, China. United States, you have the floor.
That may be true, and I would say at the same time, the guidance that we have there is I would say equally as broad. The committee's the Secretariat's mandates within the committee's mandates, Secretariat and the committee's mandates are already guided to key elements that generally encapsulate these terms that we're kind of going back and forth on. So deleting these terms altogether may be an elegant way to just move forward. Or I would say my proposal there is still to just delete the decision. The Secretariat has indicated doesn't need necessarily further specific, pretty broad guidance that we have here as written, and we all have a wonderful Thursday afternoon.
Thank you, United States. Any other interventions? China, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. I think our opinion has already been recorded here. So at the first word of the decision that China still want to retain this decision, yeah, US will suggest deleting, and China, yeah, so do not want to repeat it again. Yeah, we can enjoy the Thursday afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, China. I'd like to give the floor. Japan, you have the floor, and then I'll give the floor to the Secretary.
So my suggestion is that we just bracket, because it's not, in any case, it's not concrete enough. Whether you even include inclusive and sustainable, it's still not concrete enough as a guidance in itself. So we just feel like we're probably going to be staying in a parallel track, whether we spend another 30 minutes or an hour from the way we're proceeding. So perhaps we'll just park it and see whether we even need to retain this tomorrow. In our view, doesn't really give concrete enough guidance. I think the Secretariat understands that it needs to be responsive to these specific groups. You have enough guidance from the FFD4, and I think we reiterated that in the other decisions. So perhaps this is the way to go forward since we're in parallel tracks. Thank you.
Thank you for your suggestion, Japan. And now I'd like to give the floor to the Secretary.
No, I mean, that's a fair point. We were just discussing alternative ways. So one thought crossed my mind, and I requested the chair. So with your indulgence, if I can suggest, the Committee on Macro Policy requests Secretariat to continue its policy research and technical assistance on achieving resilient economic growth, resilient long-term economic growth, in line with the ambitions of the 2030 agenda, and especially keeping the news. Yeah, so I thought that. This is nodding big time now.
Thank you, Mr. Malik. United States, you have the floor.
Again, appreciate the creativity of the Secretariat, but I think we've been very clear that we do not support the 2030 agenda, and so would not support insertion of a reference here.
Thank you, United States. Since we have only a little bit time left, and based on the suggestions and the comments, I'd like to park this decision for now, and we can finish the the work for today. Is it agreeable to all delegates? Are there any other comments or feedback that you would like to share? I see none. So, what's the last one? Thank you, Secretariat, and thank you all the delegations for your, very useful interventions and suggestions. We will now adjourn for today, and I hope everyone enjoys the rest of the afternoon. Tomorrow we will consider agenda item 8, adoption of the report of the committee on its 5th session at 2 o'clock, right? At 2 o'clock Bangkok time at this conference hall. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention, and that concludes today's session. Thank you.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, the Secretariat wishes to request delegates to please take a few minutes to complete the evaluation questionnaire. You can scan the QR code on the screen. It's coming up now. There should also have been a QR code passed around on the tables as well. The results will be used to improve future sessions of the committee. I'm also pleased to inform you that we will have 2 side events organized tomorrow morning on the 21st of November. The first side event is on emerging pathways beyond GDP. Interactive dialogue is to be organized from 10 a.m. to noon in meeting room H. And the second is a side event on building sustainable bioeconomy for today and tomorrow, to be organized by the Embassy of Bangladesh in Bangkok in partnership with FAO, ITD, and ESCAP from 10:30 to noon in meeting room G. Thank you.